So I think we can all agree that Mad Max Fury Road is one of the best movies ever made. Now, having said that, if you're anything like me, you probably found yourself asking the question, is there anything regarding the origin stories of the various characters? Is there an origin story of Max? Is there an origin story of Immortus Joe, of Nux, of Charlize Theron's character? Are there any origin stories for this? Not everybody has an origin story yet, but there is an origin story for Nux, and in this video, we're going to find out what it is. So the origin story of Nux comes to us in the Mad Max Fury Road comic adaptation by Vertigo. And Vertigo is basically the indie branch of DC Comics, much like Image is the indie branch of Marvel Comics. And what we're told here is that Nux actually grew up during the post-nuclear ravaged world in Australia, but not much is known or not much is told to us about his parents. It's presumed that his parents had grown up in regular society before this nuclear war had taken place that pretty much just led to the degradation of society as a whole. But instead of actually giving us that, we're basically just kind of given this post-apocalyptic environment where some people sell their children, others sell themselves, and some sell whatever they have for food, clothing, weapons, and especially water, since water is such a rare commodity in this society. What we're also told here is that among this dystopian society are the parents of Nux who actually don't succumb to the violent nature of those around them. Instead, they basically rely on each other and seem to maintain what's left of organized society in themselves, in the sense that rather than actually selling Nux as a child, rather than selling themselves, they instead barter with people. They do what they can to try to maintain this standard of organized society before everything collapsed. But in addition to all this, what we learn is that Nux and his family actually live within the confines of Immortan Joe's society. But when a massive storm actually comes through, Nux's family is killed. Now, while the initial presumption is that his family dies in the storm, Vertigo actually, they kind of leave it ambiguous, to be honest. We don't really know if they died in the storm or if they were simply murdered. But regardless, what happens is that when Immortan Joe lowers the platform to allow a select few to join his inner circle in the Citadel, that Nux as a 2-year-old tries to climb onto the platform. Now, this is really interesting here because what we get is basically the circumstance where the War Boys, the henchmen of Immortan Joe, sort of goad Nux in the sense that they want to see whether or not he can do it on his own. And this really gives us an indication of just how far gone this group is from organized society, that they're not going to help a toddler climb up onto a platform. Instead, if Nux falls, well, then that just sucks. And it just means that he wasn't worthy, and that's it. I mean, they relish in this. They laugh about it. They enjoy seeing a 2-year-old struggle and presumably risk his life, possibly falling to his death. But what ultimately ends up happening here is that Nux is actually able to climb onto the platform, or at least he's able to get a strong enough grip that one of the War Boys grabs him and inducts him into their ranks. And this is how Nux became part of the War Boys clan. Basically, he got the name Nux because he was a hard nut to crack. And so what we find is that with the movie itself, we basically continue with his character where he's a mechanic and he's basically continuing to try to work his way up and eventually be somebody that can exist at the side of Immortan Joe and eventually find himself on the immortal road to Valhalla. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. Not a whole lot's given to us here. This is a pretty short video, but again, this is really all we have in terms of the origin story of Nux. And so if you guys enjoyed this video, if this video was is well received, and if people seem to like it enough, then maybe we'll continue on with the rest of the Mad Max videos. But with that being said, I will catch you guys later. Peace.